Playing Due Process better starts with better utilizing the map. Due Process has 3 map types, each one containing unique elements. Convenience Store has shutters, open and close them with a switch. Factory has toxic goo and a loading bay. Kill House is a wild card. It has several sub-archetypes. Its main feature is thin wooden walls and doors, all easily penetrable. Doors are blue, green, red, and yellow on the attack map. Green doors can be opened and closed freely by the defenders. Attackers will need to kick them. Green doors have locks and handles on them that can be shotgunned off. Doing so will swing the door open. Kicking a door effectively removes it from play. You can do this to obtain a wider angle on defense, or if you don't have a shotgun on attack. Some doors, like Kill House's double doors and C-Store's bathroom, can be opened by attackers. These are exceptions, not the rule. Blue means visibility. It's usually glass windows. Tall glass you can walk through. Smaller glass you'll only be able to use as a sightline. Shutter doors on storefront are blue because there's a layer of glass underneath. Sometimes a rooftop can have blue glass. This means you can get to the roof and drop through it. If dropping through isn't an option, players can still lob grenades through here. Red means explosives required, with some caveats. Red doors are fire exits that need door charges. You can use a wall charge if you're out of door charges, but that's a big commitment. The fan's motor on Factory can be shot out, but only from the interior, disabling the spinning blades and allowing others to enter the building from here. Yellow refers to a couple things. Think of yellow as the unique color. If a door is yellow, it has some special properties. The yellow door on C-Store is totally bulletproof, as are the teller walls next to it. The area only has 2 weak points. Teller's wall itself always spawns with a small transaction window that you can shoot through, and while the door is bulletproof, it can have its lock shotgunned off. However, it's not kickable. If you somehow end up inside the teller's booth, whether by walking in and closing it, or by wall charging into its backside, fret not, the door can be swung open from the inside by anyone. It's crucial that one player brings a shotgun on attack if taking shutter control room is part of your strategy. Kill House has a yellow door on one of its sub-archetypes, Vault. If the Vault room is present, the objective is inside, and a control panel that activates the yellow shutters will be somewhere on the map. This door is completely breach-proof. Attackers need to flick the switch to get in. So, you've loaded into a match, you've checked the tactical map, identified all the free entrances, the red doors, and any map specifics that you may need to take into consideration. You'll now need to use the tools of the TAC map to create a strategy. Of course, the left and right mouse buttons draw and erase, and you can swap between satellite and map views if you need another perspective. Drawing is a huge part of Due Process, and it extends way beyond just the planning phase. For now, let's focus on what you should be drawing. If you're attacking, you can draw a line out of the Argus vehicle towards your point of entry. On defense, drawing barbed wire locations or weak points the enemy's likely to push are ideal uses of the drawing tool. Some tips regarding drawing. Anything you draw is viewable from first person, not just on the TAC map. When a round ends to anything other than the bomb detonation, you'll have some time to look for gear. Allies who have died, especially ones carrying power weapons like the auto shotgun, or limited gear such as the clacker, can draw pathways to their corpse so nothing important is left behind.
On me, on my body.
You may have noticed that the map has a grid. Not only is this an aspect of procedural generation, and a way to quickly get a sense of scale, but tools like the wall charge are perfectly aligned with these squares. When placing a charge, it snaps into position. That means during prep phase, you can easily section off which square you intend to blow, and know ahead of time what sightline you'll create. Explosion sizes are always the same, to keep things consistent and competitive. While barbed wire doesn't snap to the grid, it does fit neatly inside of a 1x2 rectangle. You're not restricted to placing your barbed wire along the grid, but keep in mind that any explosive weapon will destroy placed barbed wire. Red doors hit with a door charge, walls with a wall charge, and even frag grenades will all blow up your barbed wire if it's in range. In fact, those same explosions will kill players too. Door and wall charges will one-shot any player on the other side, and anyone who's too close. The hitbox is consistent across both players and barbed wire, and is as follows. A 1x3 rectangle straight from the location of the charge, and half a square to the side of the explosion, inside and out. To be safe, both the players and the barbed wire should never be inside this shape, on any red door or anywhere on shutters. As for grenades, the explosion needs to connect with the middle of the barb. If a grenade can make contact with the coil that looks like the inventory item, the barb will be destroyed. When placing barbed wire in a doorway, it's often best to place it perpendicular, as opposed to parallel to the door. With this in mind, weight its location ever so slightly to the inside of the door to keep grenades from destroying it. Another tip for barbed wire while we're at it. Don't place barbed wire without the intention of using it. Knocking off a few seconds from the attacker's clock is not full utilization of gear. Create wallbang setups or put them in choke points. Ensure you communicate to your team how you intend to use the wire and draw where you'll place it, to avoid the team bringing too many or too few. Remember, if the attackers don't have a frag grenade, a single barbed wire can end their push. Try them on catwalks or near key positions like power. Another tool you have on your attack map is the puck. On defense, moving it determines your spawn location. On attack, however, it creates a beam of light. You can use the puck to show your allies where you'll go during execution, but it has other applications. The beam of light is visible while in first-person view, and it can assist in lighting up grenade throws, especially smoke grenades which pierce all level geometry, creating a sphere wherever it lands. It should be noted that levels in due process are procedurally generated, but you already knew that. What some of you may not have realized right away is that the levels are generated with developer tools in-house and not in-game. After the levels make it to the server, when a match is loaded, 3 maps are selected at random from a giant pool. The only guarantee is that one of each of those 3 tile sets are chosen. You are guaranteed to play Kill House, Store, and Factory in every match of due process. The order the 3 maps are played is random. This has a major effect on gameplay. As we mentioned in the first video, the average range of engagement is wildly different between Factory and Store. And because gear is not restocked every round, you'll need to prepare not just for 1 round, but for all 3 rounds in advance. Just like weapons, the impact of utility is highly dependent on the map. For starters, the breaker box to shut off the power is present on the 2 night maps, and not in Kill House. NVGs are expected to be taken on the second power map, regardless of whether or not Argus wants to shut the lights off. Likewise, the wall charge follows similar logic. If the wall charge was used on an early round, the defenders won't need to worry about it later, and don't need to prepare around a possible wall breach. But due process was designed to be dynamic. Sometimes the first round will have such a great opportunity for a rush, and other times even Factory has a key wall that's worth taking down. Forcing the enemy team to prepare against tools still available to your team, such as the Saber, the MAWP, auto shotgun, flares, and the wall charge, is a core dynamic of the macro game. Successfully planning and executing around these tools is thoroughly satisfying. Let's spend the rest of the video on map specifics you might be underutilizing. The bomb itself can only be defused from one side. Attackers can defuse the bomb from 180 degrees around the digital side. The bomb is bulletproof and provides excellent cover. Wallbangs are generally the best way to counter defuse in clutch scenarios. At the start of a round, both teams should isolate all safe and unsafe defusal angles. Defenders can draw lines across the defusal side towards any possible wallbangs. Attackers will need to remember which side they need to get to, and perhaps where a smoke should go to cover the defuse. In regards to wallbangs, there are 3 levels of penetration. Please feel free to pause the video and make note of which weapons have which penetration type. High tier penetration is required for freezer door and very thick walls. Mid tier penetration can get through red fire exits and thick walls. Low tier penetration pierces all other green doors and thin walls. Don't forget, bulletproof glass and most large objects that aren't walls are impenetrable. Another big tip with maps is that the TAC map shows nearly every event live. Flashbangs, Molotovs, smoke grenades, frags, flares, broken glass, and explosions are all visible on the TAC map by either team. It stands to reason that using the TAC map in the middle of a match, especially to convey the locations of deployed utility for your team, is critical. If a teammate dies to a flanker, you'll see it. If a smoke was thrown on the roof, call it. Flashbangs are an easy tell to confirm the location of enemies. Always try and have one person shot calling from the TAC map. Try to call out the room and the resource together. For example, flashbang storage when on defense. You can always follow up callouts with a compass rose or context clue to help, such as, north of arcade. The UAV is a major constraint on defender playstyle. It takes just over a second to annihilate any defender who leaves the building. Windows which have had their glass broken become lines of sight for the UAV, as do any external sight lines like the shutters or fan once they've been breached or opened. A wall charge can open any wall that isn't highlighted with a black border. Only black walls are bulletproof and can't be destroyed. On convenience store, you can sometimes find a fence. Fences aren't pathable terrain unless a door is present on them. Fences can be shot through with ease. You can find the fence area, known as shed, in a few different formats. You can do all kinds of creative things with them, from spawn peeks to surprise attacks. The freezer room is a well-fortified position, often with lots of cover and strong sightlines near the objective. The freezer's blue wall is glass and shelving that can be shot out. You may either start around by prepping the glass for visibility, or even open it up to walk through. The sliding doors on shutters actually behave a little differently from the rest of the wall. If you blow them open, you'll make a wider hole than usual. The door charge opens doors, sure, but did you know that it can also open holes in C-Store's shutter? You can't walk through these holes, but they offer a powerful angle to anyone outside. Factory has windows on the north and south side, high above the battlefield. You can actually throw stuff through these if your aim is especially good. Defenders sometimes get the opportunity to climb on top of things to peek through here, so stay close to the building to avoid detection. The dock can have any number of doors. These doors can be opened with door or wall charges, but you'll have to crouch jump to wiggle through the small holes. Still, a saber outside one of these door holes is powerful enough without risking entry. The trucks at dock spawn in a few different formats. The flatbed will block off door charge entry, but not the wall charge. Some trucks can even have interiors. Careful around factories' vats of goo and the toxic room. Barbed wire is especially good on catwalks, even more so in toxic where there's usually only one way through the room. Killhouse has a few archetypes. Sometimes you'll get a map with a pillbox, sometimes a vault room, a garage. Other times you'll get Clubhouse, a 2-story map. Killhouse's 1-story maps are very easy to smoke from the roof. The roofs are shallow and flat. Killhouse's defining trait is its wooden walls and doors. Most weapons will be able to penetrate large sections of the map, so keep that in mind when defusing, or pushing through barbed wire. The variety of rooms that Killhouse can have makes it a bit of a wild card. Make sure you're preparing for anything if it's on a later round. Quickly learning a map, remembering where each choke point is, what lies behind a door, and where key locations such as windows are is a crucial step in every match. Take your time and soak in every detail during the planning phase. Don't be afraid to draw things to help you remember where to go, or ask what your teammates are thinking. Good players don't need more than a few seconds to gear up, so milking the planning phase is worth your time. Ask questions, be vocal, and be patient and supportive to players who may see things differently than you.